Before we move on to right intention, I want to offer another way to consider the view we're holding. When you sit down to meditate, how do you know you're being mindful? That question took me a long time to answer. Each morning, we wake up into a view, our own particular way of seeing the world. We open our eyes and peer out without question or cause to question. I wake up, open my eyes, and I'm already there in Susan's view. We are in a slipstream of our usual patterns of thoughts, moods, narratives, behaviors, and bodily sensations. And we relate accordingly. We don't inquire further because we know who we are. We've been doing this all our life. This is our modus operandi, the default perspective out of which we relate to everything in our lives. This self-view is shaped by the imprint of conditioning. It is biologically, socially, environmentally, and personally constructed. As our worlds expand, the self is further shaped by preferences, beliefs, and opinions. It forms based on what it encounters, what it likes, what it doesn't like, what it doesn't notice or care about. Do you like mayonnaise or salad dressing? Are you conservative or liberal-minded? Every day, every moment, we swim in personal, social, cultural, societal, and global influences that we absorb, inherit, and adopt. The self shape shifts based on what's going on, based on the ever-changing demands, challenges, and stresses of our daily life on planet Earth. Behaviors, opinions, and beliefs continually shift, change, and solidify, whether we notice them or not. The self knows itself as I, me, or mine. I am this or that, or not this and not that, or I'm not sure yet. I believe, I think, I feel, I know, I surmise. I am myself by what I own, possess, want, or need. This is me, mine, my opinion, my book, my right. This is mine, over here, not yours. Given a diagnosis by a doctor, we say we have a cold, diabetes, or we're in good health. We listen to the news or someone tells us a story and we immediately react, internally at the very least. We have feelings, beliefs, and opinions, right, wrong, good, bad, based on our own unique value system. Susan stands in judgment or approval. Well, this is very personal, ingrained, subjective. And this self-view, this is our collective starting point. It's not our fault. This is our conditioning. And through it, we do everything from washing the dishes to making love to being a citizen to meditating. Yes, the self is also our collective default starting point when we sit down to meditate. And though it is not our fault, it will be a problem if it is not seen and accounted for, you could say. To some, this may seem basic, even obvious, but it has not been framed this way by many teachers that I've encountered. It took me years to discern what it meant to be mindful in mindfulness practice and to make the distinction between my own personal way of relating to the world and the way of mindfulness. If we don't deliberately notice who is sitting down, we will inadvertently reinforce the very sense of self we are trying to loosen and become more rigid, uptight, and more set in our ways. Only after it's been seen and identified, like the child who shouted, "Hey, the emperor has no clothes." Only when I see Susan once again worried, "Oh my, there's Susan worried again." Only when she's seen can I do anything about that perspective. And can I minister to the worry that's really being felt? Only then can we orient out of the currents of the self and toward a mindful view, toward a mindful posture of caring attention. So let me refer back to the suttas. The suttas tell us to sit down, cross-legged, spine erect, and set mindfulness to the fore. It doesn't say set Susan Morgan's view to the fore. It doesn't say sit down and just meditate. though pith instructions, they deliberately and specifically tell us what to do with the body and what to do with the mind, the heart mind in Buddhism. Oh, very important. We're setting up an inner atmosphere, the heart mind, the chitta, by tuning the frequency to caring attention, as if a wise, kind elder, a dear friend was here watching over the moment with us. Nothing personal, just watching and ministering to you in the moment. Nature or animals or plants, whatever the doorway is to help you move into that attitude of caring attention, that's what we're going for. It is with this attitude of attention that mindfulness watches, monitors, listens, ministers, and responds. Much different than if I'm depending on Susan to be nice to myself when I'm feeling down. Mindfulness, with its hallmark of a non-judgmental posture, a not Susan posture of wise, caring attention. Surely that will aid what ails me. Because imagine, if you will, you're sitting on the cushion halfway through a sitting and you realize you've spent the last 20 minutes arguing once again with customer service. And then on that realization, immediately what follows suit is we judge ourselves for wasting time. Yikes! Well, that's what the self will do. Immediately slap a judgment on. But what if we just right there make that adjustment and shift our perspective toward mindfulness and notice that conversation with kind eyes. And we say, hey buddy, come on back over here and sit down. Cool your jets with me and let's see how you're doing in there. And as we do with time and practice, well, we start to notice things like, oh, that charged up feeling, it does subside when I stop thinking about it. Or we realize that we can hold the feeling a little bit more kindly, a little bit more caringly when we step aside and bring mindfulness to the fore. This instruction is pivotal. We modern folk can benefit from spending a bit more time and a few more words on how to set up the posture of the practice, how to get out of our view and bring mindfulness to the fore. Why is this instruction so pivotal? Because this is what we're going to use to relate well to the suffering that's at hand. Without it, I'm at the mercy of my habitual way of reacting. Creating an atmosphere, however, that's a little bit more welcoming, a little bit more kind, that honors and respects non-harm and goodwill, well, that's likely going to get me a little farther. So let's be on the lookout for the self reacting when it comes up in meditation. This is a sign. Pay attention to the signs. When Susan is on the scene, she may or may not be helpful. She may or may not move the cause in the right direction toward well-being. She may feel guilty or too upset or stuck in reactivity and activation. This is a sign that Susan is on the scene. Offer her some help. Offer her help by shifting into a mindful view. Kind eyes. Kind eyes, can you feel the difference? A lack of edge, maybe? Maybe kind words to say, there, my darling, easy does it. Come on back over here. Gradually, we want mindfulness to hold more sway than all of the powerful currents of the self. This is the direction. So we learn to set up, and we keep reestablishing this posture of mindful, caring attention. Because little old me may or may not be able to hold the moment. But with time and practice, we can grow the arms of caring attention that can hold us. So finally, I want to offer you a little visual. This is, when I talk about the mindful view and the self view with some of my other students, one of them mailed me this. Because I often talk about how we wobble in and out of the self view and the mindful view, because the mindful view is not a steady state. So they mailed me a Weeble. Weebles, those of you who don't know, it's a child's toy. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. We wobble in and out of this self-view and mindful view. All the time we're wobbling in and out. No worries, just notice and then readjust back in. That's all. It's good practice. Okay? The wobbling is part of the ride. So easy does it. All right. Okay. Thank you for your kind attention.